Hi, I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach parenting, and I teach relationships and communications. I teach a system called teaching self-government all over the world, and people consistently ask me, how do I fix my child's behavior problems? Well, in this video, we're going to be talking about that. As a mother of four and previous foster parent of many troubled teens, I can tell you that I've had my fair share of helping children solve their behavior problems. In fact, behavior problems is a pretty broad term, but what I do know are there are four key things that I can share with you that will actually help conquer 99% of your child's behavioral problems, no matter their age. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. Oftentimes when I teach people the principles and skills of self-government, I teach them these four basic skills. In fact, this is probably one of the things that I'm known for around the world. So these books each teach one of the four basic skills to children. Now these books are best for children like 12 and under, but you can still teach the skills to a child of any age. In fact, in my Teaching Self-Government Parenting course and in my book, Parenting a House United, I also talk about these four basic skills. This one teaches following instructions. This one teaches accepting no answers and criticism. This one teaches accepting consequences. And this one teaches disagreeing appropriately. When a person learns these four basic skills, that takes care of 99% of their behavioral problems. But when I teach people those skills at conferences, they say, yeah, but what about lying? Well, they're not accepting a no answer, because a no answer is any kind of a boundary you don't cross. So stealing, lying, hitting, those are all no answers. And they say, yeah, but what about attitude problem? What about talking back? Well, those are all not disagreeing appropriately. What about tantrums when I tell them that they have to do their chore? Well, they're not following instructions. They're not keeping a calm face, voice, and body. All of those four basic skills have skill sets attached to them. And each of those skill sets help us identify what problem our child is having. So let's take following instructions. The skill following instructions has 5 steps. You look at the person, keep a calm face, voice, and body, say okay or ask to disagree appropriately, do the task immediately, and then check back. So if a person won't look at you when you're giving them an instruction, then they're not looking at you, and with that face I just had, they're also not having a calm face, voice, and body. I won't even give my child the opportunity to go and do the instruction like the dishes or clean the bathroom or whatever it is that they're supposed to do if they don't look at me and keep a calm face, voice, and body. I would correct them for that. That's right, you have to correct the child every single time that they do not follow instructions, accept no answers or criticism, accept consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. That consistent correction will help them conquer all of those behavioral problems, no matter what they are. So what about accepting a no answer? To accept a no answer, you look at the person, keep a calm face, voice, and body, say okay or ask to disagree appropriately, and then drop the subject. That means you don't think about it anymore. So if my child asks me if they can go and play with a friend, and I say no because it's going to be dinner time, or you already played with a friend today, or something like that, and my child pouts or whines or hits the wall on the way out, then my child is, number one, not keeping a calm face, voice, and body. Probably didn't say okay, but let's say they did say okay. And then as they're walking away, they start that attitude or that pouting. And I know that they're still thinking on it and they're not dropping the subject. Now, this doesn't mean that a person can't have disappointment from time to time. That can happen. But we need to teach ourselves that we are in control of what we do with that disappointment. Disappointment is a feeling that any person can feel. So we could talk about disappointment as we're doing a disagree appropriately if we wanted to. Or we could think, I'm disappointed, but there's nothing that I'm going to be able to do to change this, so I need to drop the subject. We can just tell ourselves to drop the subject if we know the skill. So almost any situation that a parent fires at me that they are handling with a child, I can pinpoint into one of the 4 skill sets that belong to those 4 basic skills. So how do you fix your child's behavior? Well, you can't. They have to fix their own behavior. No parent can fix a child's behavior, but you can teach them the skills that they need to succeed. Before I get to my next point, subscribe to this channel. There are videos that come out every day, and they are just as good as this one, sometimes even better. Subscribe now. So now that we can identify some of the things and where they fit, I know not all because I didn't go into all the detailed descriptions of accepting consequences and disagreeing appropriately, but I have to touch on corrections. It's so important that we correct the skills when they're not done correctly, and that we give positive feedback when they are done well. So feedback is vital for a person to learn cause and effect. And when a person is learning self-government and trying to have a change of heart, they have to have an environment that teaches cause and effect. So praise and corrections both teach cause and effect. So when you praise your child, do it specifically. Describe what they did really well. You looked right at me. You kept a calm face, voice, and body. You said okay, then you did the instruction and you checked back. You are really doing a good job of following instructions. That's a very mature skill and you're getting better at self-government. Good job. High five. That's a really good descriptive praise. We should be praising our children 6 to 10 times for every one time that we correct them. When we correct our children, we should be describing more what happened and what should be happening. We should think of those corrective teaching moments more as teaching and less as correcting. Now, sure, we are going to teach cause and effect, but we do want them to definitely be able to experience the environment of being taught instead of being criticized, chastised. We don't want a condescending or belittling type of an environment to occur. If you are being emotional with your child when you're correcting them, then that will begin a power struggle. And that is going to make it so that they have even more of a difficult time trying to control themselves. So the way you feel about your corrections will make a difference in the way they feel about your corrections too. In fact, I think it's always a good idea to deliberately discuss with your children that you are not negatively affected by a correction, that you think it's a good and productive thing, and that you have no problem spending your time doing corrections for them if it will help them to succeed and improve for their future. When I correct my children, I describe. This is what happened, this is what should have happened, this is what you've earned, let's practice it the right way. That is the basic formula for doing a really great correction. But what if they don't accept that correction? I know that can happen. I have another skill set for helping them come back into calmness when they've chosen to go completely out of control too. You can't fix your child's behavior problems, but you can create an environment where it's like holding up a mirror. They can see their behavior problems, and they have to be held accountable to the laws of cause and effect. You can be a good teacher. You can be patient as they are improving bit by bit at mastering these skills. These 4 basic skills that I mentioned in this video are literally life-changing for adults and children. I would like to share with you another life-changing concept. The concept of the expectation trap versus the cycle for success. If you've enjoyed this video, I'm pretty sure you'll like the next video called The Expectation Trap versus the Cycle for Success. This video is a class that I have prepared for everybody here on YouTube so that they can have better days and not trap themselves in emotional traps that are going to create problems for their relationships and for their own personal success. So click on that link now and I'll see you there.